Hi, I'm Andrew.
And I'm Sam.
And we're NV Board Gaming. And today we're going to take a look at one of our favorite designers' games, Abyss, designed by Bruno Cathala, which I'm going to tell you again here in a minute. But just by looking at the cover, you might not get a lot out of what is in this box. So let me show you how it's played and what the components look like, and we'll get back to our final thoughts. Abyss is a 2 to 4 player game designed by Bruno Cathala and Charles Cavalier. Art is completed by Xavier Colette and it is published by Bombix. In this game, players are going to be vying to become king of the Abyss. And you're going to be doing that by getting the most influence points, which you will gain through affiliating allies, recruiting lords, controlling locations, and slaying Leviathans. Let's see how it's played. Now in Abyss, players are going to start with one level 1 crab card, as well as 1 pearl. And during your turn, you're going to do 3 different steps, and we're going to go through each of those steps together. 2 of which are mandatory and 1 is optional. So let's take a look at the first step, which is plot at court. Now in order to show you the plot at court step of your turn, let's say we've played a few rounds of the game, and this is what our court looks like. Now, in Abyss, you're going to be recruiting these lords, and these spots are not necessarily going to fill up when a lord is recruited. So, as part of your turn, the first step, you can optionally pay 1 pearl to reveal a lord and bring them into court. Okay, so you would pay that pearl to bring a new lord into court to fill a space that's available. And that is the first step of your turn, and it is optional, so it's not something you have to do. So let's jump into the second step, which is going to be taking 1 action. Now for the second step, to take an action, you're going to have a few options to choose from. The first one is going to be explore the depth. And when you explore the depth, you're going to be focusing on this top portion of the board. And what you're going to do is 1 card at a time, you are going to reveal one of the allies to the top row. Okay? And you will be able to possibly take that card, but first you have to offer it to your opponents. So going clockwise around the table, you are going to offer this number 4 crab to your opponents. Now, the first card that you sell, no matter which opponent wants to buy it, the first card you sell is going to cost 1 pearl. So let's say the player to my left purchases this crab, they would pay me 1 pearl, and they would be able to gain that crab. They would take that and put it into their hand of cards, and then we continue to explore. And the next card is a 1 jellyfish. So then I would place this card out there and ask if anybody else wants to purchase. If the player has already purchased a card, they cannot purchase a second card. So I would offer to the other players if they would like to purchase this ally. However, the price now goes up. So instead of 1, it's going to cost 2 pearls. And if someone buys it for 2, then the next card that comes out is going to cost 3 pearls, and so on and so forth. So let's say nobody purchases this card, and I don't want it. And if I want a card, it's going to be free. I don't have to pay for it. But let's say I don't want that one. So I reveal this next blue octopus. Again, offer it for everybody to purchase. See if anybody wants it. Let's say they don't, and neither do I. And then I reveal a monster card. Now, when you reveal a monster card, you have one of 2 options. You can either choose to fight it or to keep exploring. Now, if you choose to keep exploring or fighting, you're going to have to take a look at the monster board over here. So let me show you how monsters work. Now, with the monster board here, you can see this little token. Let's say I choose to fight. If I choose to fight the monster, then I will get whatever reward that this token here is by. So I would either get a pearl or I can get a monster token, which looks like this. If I choose to not fight and I want to explore, this just moves down for the next person that reveals a monster card to then decide, hey, if I fight, I might get some better options. And the more people pass on fighting, the rewards will gradually get more and more. But who likes to fight monsters like that? You don't get to see any cool monsters. It's not really in depth. So let's get rid of it. Let's take a look at the Leviathan expansion. Okay? This is why you get the Leviathan expansion. Because it's so boring to just move a little token on a board up and down, up and down. So let's make it a little bit more exciting. Let's say you're playing with the Leviathan expansion and you have the chance to become the Scourge of the Abyss. Now, in the Leviathan expansion, if you choose to keep exploring, you don't just get to walk away without potential damage. What you're going to have to do is you're going to take these dice and you're going to roll them. Okay? And let's say I rolled a 7. I would then reveal the next Leviathan card, and I would check and see if there is a Leviathan in the 7 space. And in this case, there is. And what that means is bad news for me, because now this Leviathan is going to do 3 damage. And each of those damage markers are going to give me a -1 point each. So I would have to take that damage and then replace that Leviathan with the new one. However, let's say I didn't roll a 7. Let's say I rolled a 4. If I rolled a 4, then I got lucky. This Leviathan gets to stay at the 7 space. And the new one that I revealed is going to go to the 4 space. And as you can see, the more that you pass on not fighting these Leviathans, the more chances that you are going to take some damage, lose a lord that you've recruited, or you could lose precious pearls. Now, let's say you choose to fight the Leviathan. If you choose to fight the Leviathan instead of passing, now what you're going to do is, let's take a look at this card a little closer. Now, you are going to pick a card from your hand that is one of the symbols showing here. There may be just one specific ally that they're looking for, or they may have some options. You're going to choose just one card. Then you are going to roll one of these dice. Okay, so let's say I played my 1 crab and I rolled a 4. I am then going to compare it to this number here. If I fail, then I just get a pearl as kind of a good try reward. However, if I succeed, then this little health marker that would be here would come off, and I would earn 4 of these Leviathan tokens. Now, in the base game, the Leviathan tokens are just straight up victory points. And wow, apparently I found all the 2s. There is a 3, but you can get victory points from the base game tokens. However, in the Leviathan expansion, if you choose the tokens with the L, you will have the option to gain a stack of cards from the council, which I'll talk about a little bit there. You have an option to get more pearls, whether it be 2 or 3, or you have the option to get keys, which are going to be important when it comes to getting locations. And we'll talk about that also a little bit later. So that is the main reason why you're going to want the Leviathan expansion. I just wanted to throw that out there because no one likes the other board that comes with the base game. And it really doesn't add a whole lot more. It's going to add some more lords. It's going to add some unique cards. But that's about it. Some of the cards that it adds, I'll just show real quick, is going to be this, which is going to be when you combat, if you use this card, you can spend a pearl. You can spend as many pearls as you want, and each pearl adds 1 to your attack. There's also going to be ones that let you roll both dice, and you'll add them together and add that to your attack. So very simple added expansion, one that I would definitely recommend. But let's get back to exploring. Now, if you choose to fight, that would count as your action. But let's say we didn't. Let's say we wanted to keep exploring, and obviously continue to offer these up to the other players for auction until everybody's had a chance to buy it. And if we continue to not want it, and let's say we get to this last space here. If this is the last one I place, I then take this card and I get 1 pearl. I have to take it, and that is the Explore the Depths action. Next, let's take a look at request support from the council. So, to talk a little bit about the request support from the council action, you're probably wondering a little bit, what happens with all these cards that aren't chose or bought during the Explore the Depth action? Well, these cards are all going to join their special suit area right down here. And as your turn, so let's say it's the next player's turn, they can choose to request support from the council by taking an entire pile from one of these suits. So I don't get just one, I can get both of these. And there could come times throughout the game where you're going to have more and more and more cards that are going to pile up, and they're going to make these stacks more and more appealing. Okay? Now, I can take, as my action, all of these jellyfish cards. Okay? Now, in the base game, there is no hand limit. However, if you're playing with the Leviathan expansion, there are 12 cards hand limits now. So, but that's how simple the request support from the council action is. You would just take a whole stack, and that's it. So then let's look at the third action for this step, which is recruit a lord. Now, to recruit a lord, you are going to choose which lord you want to recruit. And let's say I chose this one. And there's some important things you're going to want to look at here. One, you're going to see the number in the top left. That's how many victory points you're going to get for this lord at the end of the game. You're also going to see an ability, the name, as well as this icon here. Now, in order to recruit this lord, I have to get rid of 3 different ally cards. So these cards we've been collecting, I'm going to have to spend at least 3 of them. Okay? 3 different types. So I can't just choose all jellyfish or all crabs or all seahorse. I'm going to have to choose different cards. But one of those cards has to be the jellyfish card. Okay? And all of them added up have to be a 6 or higher. So let's say I had a crab 2, a jellyfish 4, and I need another card. I can't just spend 2 different ones. And let's say I had an octopus 2. Okay? I would spend these cards. It could be more than 3 cards. I just have to have at least 3 suits. Okay? And then I'm going to gain this lord. And I'm going to put them in my player area. If the lord has a down arrow, like this one does, you will immediately, and only this one time, do that lord's ability. If it does not have an arrow, it will be a semi-permanent ability. For instance, the Oracle here, right? This one does not have an arrow. This one has a key in the top right corner. And what that means is that this lord is used to claim a location. And also, it has a reoccurring ability where during your turn, you may discard 1 stack of cards from the council. Okay? So, once you have claimed or recruited a lord, you are going to slide the rest down, but you are not going to fill the row. Turns will continue to go, and let's say someone claims this one, they continue to slide down, and then someone claims this one, continues to slide down, and then eventually maybe someone claims this one and they slide down. Now, once you reveal these 2 pearls, the player that causes that to be revealed is going to gain 2 pearls, and then the court is going to refill. fill. Just like that. All right, and that is the recruit. Oh, forgot about this. Sorry. So let's say these are the cards I paid for, right? We talked about that. These are the cards I paid for. You are going to discard these cards, all except for one. You are going to take the lowest numbered card and you're going to keep it as an affiliate, because that affiliate is going to earn you points. One card for each suit is going to give you points, and you want the highest number possible. But remember, the only one you keep is the lowest number. So I would discard this jellyfish, and then I would have a tie here. If there's a tie, I get to choose which one I want to keep, and the others are discarded. At the end of the game, you're going to get points for the highest affiliate that you have of each suit type. And that is the Recruit Lord action. Now, for the third step of your turn, you are going to see if you can control a location. Now, in order to control a location, you have to have 3 keys. And once you have 3 keys, you must claim a location. And the way you're going to do that is at the beginning of the game, there is going to be one available here. And you can claim this one. Each of them are going to give you victory points for different things. All right, so I could take this one. And what I'm going to do is I would just use these 3 lords with those keys, and I'm going to place them right like that. Okay, now these lords are no longer free. They are locked into this location. And as you can see, it covers up their abilities, which means those abilities that we had before, not anymore. Okay, so you could take that location, and these are how you're going to get a lot of victory points. Okay, this one's going to give you 2 points for each of your mage lords plus 6. Okay, but let's say I didn't like this one because I don't have a lot of pinks. You know, maybe it's not the right one for me. Maybe I'm not going for pink lords. So what I can do instead of taking that one is I can draw 1, 2, 3, or 4 locations. And I can look these over and I can choose one of these. Now, once I choose one, let's say I want to just go with this one. Maybe I'm not doing very good with affiliates. This one will give me 20 points minus my affiliated allies that I have. Okay? Now, these extras that you didn't choose are going to go in the face-up pile, which, yes, this gives you more options, but now you're giving your opponents more options. Because now if they were to claim, they could look at any of these or take from the stack. So that is how you're going to gain a location. Now, Abyss is going to end in a couple different ways. Now, if you're playing with the base game, it's going to end in one of 2 ways. Either when somebody recruits their 7th lord, or if somebody recruits a lord from the court and it has to be refilled, but there's not enough cards to completely fill it. Then the game will end. You are going to get victory points for the lords that you have recruited, the locations that you control. You will also get victory points like we talked about for your strongest affiliate of each suit. Sorry, there we go. And you're going to get victory points for any monster tokens you have. Now, in the expansion, the other way that the game is going to end, if you have the Leviathan, I do not have the Kraken expansion, by the way, but if you run out of monster tokens, or if the Leviathan deck runs out, those will also trigger the end of the game. And also with the Leviathan expansion, you will get victory points for if you were able to claim the Scourge of the Abyss. And this is going to go to the person who killed the most Leviathans. And this is going to be worth, I believe, an additional 5 victory points, if I remember right. All right. And that is how you play Abyss. All right, and that is how you play Abyss, and I threw in the Leviathan expansion, just because it's just a better game. Honestly, if you're gonna get Abyss, it's almost an essential expansion in my opinion. It changes so much to the game. It adds that dynamic that the game really needs. It has that deep, dark feel of exploring the depths. And in the base game, it's just, oh, there's a monster token or there's a monster card and I either get a pearl or don't. And it's like you just move a little thing up and down the track.
Yeah.
Whereas with the Leviathan expansion, then you actually have Leviathans that you actually have to fight. And you can get some, you can get that really cool mini, the Scourge of the Abyss. And yeah, it adds a whole new feel to the game, in my opinion. And it makes that part of the game a lot more fun, a lot more dynamic. Now, I've not played with the Kraken expansion. I honestly haven't heard too much about it or even that it's really anything worth getting. But the Leviathan expansion is one that I think if you do, I'm just going to throw it out there right off the bat. If you do want to get Abyss, or if you have it or something, check out the Leviathan expansion. I think it's a must-have, essential expansion. So, talking about the game, first, I just have to say the art is gorgeous. Yeah. The location tiles, gorgeous. On the expansion for the Leviathans, gorgeous. Even just the art of the different lords, the board, like just the colors really pop. It just looks really nice on the table.
Which looks cool with like the background being dark and then having like bright colors pop through.
Right. Right. And so it just looks really good. The gameplay, super simple. You either are exploring, you're taking those piles of cards if you're going to get support from the council, or you're going to, recruit a lord. Super quick too, because it's literally the first to 7 lords, or if some decks of cards run out. You know, not a whole lot to it. Pretty simple. And as soon as you get 3 keys, you have to control location. So it's by Bruno. It's from him and I don't want to forget Charles. Bruno and Charles do great jobs. They've also done Micropolis together, and they've also done, what's the other one? I can't remember. It'll probably come to me a little later. But whenever those two get together, they design some really, really good games. And so this one is another great hit for me that I really enjoy. I love the simplicity. I love the theme and the look to it. This is one that I don't really have a ton of negatives, in all honesty. I just think this is one where you could, get people into the hobby. I don't know if it's a theme that will grasp everybody, kind of pull them in, but it's one that you could easily teach really quickly. Everybody loves playing with little pearls in their cups. I don't know if it's just me, but I'm just the one that's always constantly swirling it all the time.
Yeah.
It's probably
and it's
annoying.
nice that it's like actual pearls.
Right.
And they're not
sure
just
they're not
like,
real pearls.
well, I know,
I'm just
obviously
kidding.
the game would probably be super expensive if they were real
Deluxe
pearls.
version. Deluxe version. Get on it, Bruno.
But they feel
deluxe.
like it, and so it's not like, oh, it's just like a little piece of cardboard that has a pearl on it or something. You know what I mean? Like it makes it feel like it's a real pearl.
Right.
So.
And so, I think overall, for me, well, I won't jump into my rating. I'll let you kind of talk about what you wanted to say about the game.
I love the art. Like you said, the artwork is really pretty. I like the whole theme of it, and then just the different like council. What are they called? They're lords? I wanted to call them gods for some reason.
Right.
They're not gods.
Well,
lords.
because we're fighting over. We're trying to become the king of Abyss.
Right. And I'm like, there's a term, lords. But yeah, I think the lords are really cool, how they each have their own abilities. And so once you can actually get them and fill those, get a specific lord based on the different cards that you get. I think that's cool that each person really has their own abilities, which is awesome. And then also, you know, getting the keys to get different
get the locations.
The locations is cool because that also adds another element to the game. And so I think there's even one where you get to like go through the locations and you get to pick which one you want. I've had that like
I know,
once
like
or
as
twice.
one of your actions, you can always draw extra locations.
Yeah.
And then, but then they become available to your opponent. So there's a nice little give and take there to where you can you can get other ones if you don't like the ones available,
right.
but then you let your opponents also see more options.
Right. So I mean and it's kind of cool if like you're the only one at the time that has like a location, so you get kind of like first dibs. But I think the locations are cool, and just the whole game itself I think is simple to learn. It's a pretty fast game, but I just think it's got such a cool theme and it's fun to play.
Right.
And I like fighting the Leviathan, like that part brings excitement to it too. Because it's like, okay, do you want to fight them or not, kind of thing.
Because if you don't fight them, then they can go in a spot where there's already a Leviathan, which you could lose pearls, you could lose lords that you've already recruited, or you could take damage, which is negative victory points, which is, you know, a risk that's like, ooh, do I really want to take it?
Yeah,
you know?
Right.
And so I think you brought up a good point too when it comes to the lords. I like the recruiting of the lords because the unique, like, ooh, I need to use 3 different types of suits, but the one suit that I need has to be the jellyfish, and I have to have high enough numbers to get to 10.
Yeah.
And so, but then, you know, when you spend those cards, all the high numbers get discarded and you keep just the lowest, because then those affiliates score you victory points. So you're like, I want to play really high cards, so maybe I want to overspend for this lord, so that then those affiliates that I get are higher, which give me more points. And so I always thought that was an interesting little go there, because it's like, ooh, I don't really want to overpay, but then sometimes I actually kind of do want to overpay, especially if I can play a lot of high numbers kind of thing. And then I get more affiliates, which is nice.
So that does add an extra element, I feel like, to the end of the game, because you're kind of like in the moment playing it, and that's something you might forget about, but that does get you extra points at the end, which is cool. And then kind of, you know, using your pearls to buy the cards, I think is kind of a cool thing too. Right,
and the cost keeps going up after someone buys. It's then 2 and then 3, so it's great.
Right.
You get a lot of pearls that way.
Yeah, you do.
So yeah, what would you say is your final score for Abyss?
I would probably give it like an 8.
An 8? Okay.
Yeah, I really love it. I know out of all of Bruno Cathala's games, and I've said this before, like, to him at least, this is my favorite of his games.
It's not my favorite, not even close. Not even close.
It's
still
my
a good
favorite,
game. Yeah. Whenever we talk about Abyss, we always then talk about Aquatica as well, because spoiler alert, I like Aquatica more, but I still really like Abyss. And so Abyss for me gets a 7.5. Really good game, really solid. Me kind of being liking the more meatier games. I wish there was a little bit more there, but I do like how quick it is. It's a quick game, really fast. I mean, 7 lords and you're done. You know, you're just kind of racing to it. Essentially, it can kind of feel like you're just going so fast to try and get everything you need. So yeah, it's a 7.5 for me. Still a really good game. I prefer Aquatica.
And see, I don't.
Right.
I mean,
even though they're very different games, but the same theme. I
respect your opinion.
Right.
But...
Awesome. Thank you. So that is Abyss with the Leviathan expansion. Let us know what you think. Have you played the Kraken expansion? Because I haven't, and is it even really worth it? What do you think? What's your favorite Bruno Cathala game?
Oh, that's a good question.
That is, right.
Yeah.
Please let us know in the comments. Also, like, comment, subscribe, and click the little bell icon so every time we post a video, you get a notification. And we will see you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching.
Bye.